All right, think about this for a second. That smell of hot asphalt in the summer.
Mm.
And you hear the screams from a roller coaster way off. That feeling when you drop
Uh,
amusement parks.
Classic.
Yeah. But look, they're not just about the rides and, the cotton candy anymore. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something really interesting. The Global Amusement Park Market.
It's huge.
It is. It's this massive industry, a whole world of entertainment, and honestly, it's big business.
Mm.
We're going to unpack some forecasts. These are from cognitive market research.
Right.
And this should give you a shortcut, really, to understanding where this whole sector is heading. There's some surprising facts in here, clear insights.
It's a good topic. I mean, this market, it's more than just fun and games, like you said. And when you dig into the numbers, you start seeing these fascinating patterns.
Like what?
Well, global leisure trends, for one, how people are spending their money, their disposable income, and even big shifts in regional economies. So yeah, our mission today is basically to pull out the most important bits, the key takeaways from the sources on this market, help you see where the real action is.
Fantastic. Let's start with the big picture then, because the numbers are, well, they're pretty staggering.
They are.
The Global Amusement Park Market, it was valued at $95.441 billion back in 2021.
95.5 billion, roughly. Yeah.
But here's the kicker. It's projected to shoot up to $187.339 billion by 2033.
Wow. It's almost double.
Exactly, nearly doubling in just over a decade. That's growing at a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of 5.781%.
So just under 6% growth per year globally. That's solid.
Right, so it's not just if it's growing, but where. Where are these parks making the most money, and where's the growth really speeding up?
Okay, well, starting regionally, North America is currently the big one, the giant in the market.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah. By 2033, it's projected to hit $62.384 billion. It's growing steadily, too, at a 5.295% CAGR. It's, a mature market, very established, home to some really iconic parks.
And if we drill down into North America a bit, the U.S., I assume, is the main player.
Oh, absolutely. The U.S. market alone is predicted to reach over $53.5 billion by 2033. Steady growth there, around 5.18% CAGR.
Okay, $53 billion just for the U.S. But what's interesting looking at the numbers is Canada.
Yes.
While the U.S. is obviously the biggest chunk, Canada's actually showing a higher growth rate. It's projected to more than double from 2021, hitting nearly $5.5 billion by 2033. That's a 6.26% CAGR.
That is interesting. Higher than the U.S. rate.
And Mexico's growing strongly, too, set to reach over $3.3 billion, with a capping out around 5.5%, 5.6%.
What's fascinating there is seeing that kind of variation even within a dominant region.
Right.
Canada's stronger CAGR, maybe it suggests more room for new parks, or maybe a boost in domestic tourism. It points to different dynamics, different investment levels, even next door to the U.S.
Absolutely. Okay, so North America is the current leader, but maybe not the fastest overall. Let's switch gears to the real growth engine here, Asia Pacific.
Ah, yes. This is where things get really dynamic.
Totally. This region actually leads the world in growth rate. And look at this. It's set to become the biggest player by the end of this forecast period.
Overtaking North America.
Yeah. Projected to hit nearly $60 billion by 2033. That's with a regional CGR of 6.582%.
Wow, over 6.5%. That's significant.
It's more than just a map changing, isn't it? It feels like a global shift in where the big money in leisure and entertainment is heading. Demand is just exploding in these markets.
It really is. And within APAC, China is, well, it's a behemoth. It dominates the region. Projected to hit almost $20 billion by 2033. That's $19.86 billion, with a strong CAGR too, 6.762%.
Nearly $20 billion in China alone.
Okay.
And Japan.
Japan's also significant, looking at about 8.8, almost $9 billion by 2033, growing at just under 6% CAGR.
Okay, solid. But the one that really jumped out at me was India.
Ah, yes. India's growth is remarkable.
Truly exceptional, right? It's projected to hit nearly $8 billion by 2033. And look at the CAGR, 7.558%.
7.5%. That's the highest specific country rate we've seen so far in these numbers.
It really is. What do you think drives that? I mean, rising middle class, obviously, but is it more? Maybe starting from a lower base or that huge youth population?
Could be all those. Lower existing park density, perhaps, a huge demographic, hungry for new entertainment options, maybe even specific government pushes for tourism. It's likely a mix.
Makes sense. And South Korea is strong too, right? Projected over $5.5 billion. Australia nearing $2.8 billion.
Correct. And it's not just the biggest countries either. You see really strong growth across the board in APAC, Singapore, for instance,
Right.
projected to hit over $2.5 billion by 2033 with a CAGR of 6.86%. Very high.
And Southeast Asia as a whole.
That subregion is surging. It's expected to more than double its 2021 value, hitting over $4.6 billion by 2033. The CAGR there is 7.167%.
Another one over 7%. Incredible.
And Taiwan's also growing well, almost $2 billion by 2033. I mean, if you connect the dots,
Yeah.
it points to rapid economic development, more urbanization, this growing middle class across the region. People have more money and more desire for these kinds of leisure experiences.
It's a massive shift. Okay, so from booming Asia, let's turn to Europe, a place with a long history of amusement parks, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like a more mixed bag in terms of growth.
It is, yeah. A diverse landscape, you could say. The overall European market was valued at over $20 billion in 2021.
Okay.
And it's projected to grow to $38.4 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 5.338%. So solid growth,
At
definitely.
5%, still good.
But yeah, when you look at individual countries, the rates vary quite a bit more than in, say, APAC.
How so?
Well, Germany shows strong growth. It's projected to almost double its 2021 size, hitting over $8.4 billion by 2033. That's a 6% CAGR, quite robust.
Okay, Germany's strong. What about the UK?
UK is solid too, projected to exceed $5.3 billion, CAGR around 5.7%.
Yep.
But then you look at, say, France, still growing, projected over $4.7 billion, but the CAGR is a bit lower, around 4.76%.
Go slower.
Italy, similar story, projected $3.6 billion, CAGR just under 5%. Russia's growth is projected around 4.3%. Spain and Sweden are stronger, though, both over 5.5% CAGR.
Spain's at 5.6%, Sweden 5.5%. Okay.
Denmark's around 5%, Switzerland a bit lower at 4.6%. And then you have smaller markets, like Luxembourg, projected around $330 million with a 4% CAGR. That's actually the lowest country-specific rate mentioned here.
Interesting. So what stands out to you about Europe, looking at those numbers, especially compared to, Asia Pacific's explosive growth?
Well, it highlights that contrast, doesn't it? Established markets, many of them growing steadily, healthily even, but maybe not with that same dramatic acceleration you see elsewhere.
Right. Maturity versus maybe catch-up speed in other regions.
Perhaps. Different starting points, different levels of market saturation, different economic conditions, too.
Okay. Let's cover the other regions. South America.
South America looks pretty dynamic, too. The total market was about $6 billion in 2021. Projected to more than double, reaching over $12.2 billion by 2033. The overall CAGR for the region is 6.07%.
Another region over 6%.
Yeah. Brazil leads the pack, projected to hit almost $4.6 billion. But look at Argentina. Its CAGR is 6.638%, projected to reach over $2.1 billion. Very strong.
Wow. Argentina. Okay. Colombia.
Colombia also strong, projected over $2 billion with a 5.6% CAGR. And you've got Peru and Chile showing decent growth too, around 5.9% and 6.3% CAGR respectively. So definitely rising demand across the continent.
Good to see. All right. Middle East. Seems like a lot of investment happening there.
Absolutely. The Middle East market stood at nearly $5 billion in 2021.
Okay.
It's projected to almost double, hitting nearly $10 billion by 2033. That's a regional CAGR of 5.96%.
Just shy of 6%. Key players.
Saudi Arabia is significant, growing to over $2.7 billion. Turkey's also growing well, over $2 billion projected. But the UAE really catches the eye.
Yeah. How so?
It's surging from about $740 million in 2021 to over $1.6 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 6.68%.
Another really high one, almost 6.7%.
Exactly. Likely fueled by, those big tourism projects and investments in world-class attractions we hear about.
Makes total sense. Okay, finally, Africa.
Africa is currently the smallest market, around $2.6 billion in 2021.
Right.
But it's still projected to grow steadily, reaching over $5.1 billion by 2033. The CAGR is 5.247%.
So doubling in size too, essentially.
Pretty much. Nigeria is projected to grow to nearly $900 million, South Africa to over $2.3 billion. So yes, while it's smaller in scale compared to other regions, the growth story is definitely there. It's a global phenomenon, this desire for entertainment and leisure.
It really is. So wrapping your head around all these numbers, what does this all mean for you, the listener? I mean, these regional differences, they're not just statistics, are they?
Not at all. They reflect these bigger global currents, tourism flows, economic development, where people have more discretionary income and how they choose to spend it.
It's like a snapshot of the world's playtime choices. and how those choices are shifting, sometimes dramatically.
Precisely. So, if we summarize the core findings from this deep dive, the global amusement park market is undeniably on a major growth path, set to almost double by 2033.
Right. Big headline number.
And this growth is really being turbocharged by that dynamic expansion in Asia Pacific. So much so that APAC is actually projected to overtake North America as the largest market.
That's a huge shift.
It is. And those growth rates in places like India, over 7.5%, and Southeast Asia, over 7%, are just really standout figures.
Yeah.
Which does raise an interesting question. What's really driving that specific rapid growth? Is it just income and population, or are there other factors? Cultural shifts? Strategic investments?
That's the key question, isn't it?
Hmm.
So the big takeaway seems to be, yes, established markets like North America and parts of Europe are still growing, but the real speed, the acceleration, the future dominance, it looks like it lies in these emerging economies.
A global rebalancing of fun, you could say.
Yeah, I like that. A rebalancing of fun. So here's something to think about. What will the amusement park of, say, 2033 actually look like, especially in India or Southeast Asia or the UAE?
Good question.
Will it be more integrated with, like, cutting-edge tech, VR, AR, that kind of thing? Will it blend more deeply with local culture in ways we haven't seen? Or maybe totally new kinds of escapism?
It's exciting to consider. The possibilities for innovation are huge, especially where new parks are being built from the ground up.
Exactly. And maybe think about what this whole booming industry tells us about, what people want globally. That shared desire for leisure, for experiences, maybe just a bit of magic. Who knows? Maybe these trends might even shape your own travel plans or where you look for investment opportunities down the line.
Food for thought, definitely.